different stages on our journey through life. Our paths are varied and we look at life in different ways. But there's one thing we all have in common. At one point or another, and to some degree or other, our lives have touched the life of Michael Aaron Gunderson. So we're here this evening in order to pay our last respects and bid a sad but fond farewell to Michael. We're here also so that in our own way we can celebrate, honor, and pay tribute to his life. And in doing so, we express our sincere love and admiration for him. So we've put aside our usual daily activities for a while and gathered here to give expression to the thoughts and feelings that well up in us at this time of loss. And also because, in one way or another, Michael's death affects us all. I'd like to, at this point, call up Jenny's father, Jim, and he will lead us in a prayer. Right up here, Jim.
Good evening. A nice crowd, very nice crowd. People come from a long ways away. Let's pay tribute to Mike with the Our Father. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Amen. Thank you.
Thank you, Jim. We have a couple of songs we're going to listen to this evening, and the first one is Cool Change by the Little River Band.
Lots of those friendly people, they're showing me ways to go, but I never want to lose their inspiration. Time for cool change. I know that it's time for a cool change. Now that my life is so rearranged, I know that it's time for a cool change. Well, I was born in the sign of water, and it's there that I feel my best. The albatross and the whales, they are my brothers. It's kind of a special feeling when you're out on the sea alone, staring at the full moon like a lover. Time for a cool change. I know that it's time for a cool change. Now that my life is so rearranged, I know that it's time for a cool change. time that I spend alone, sailing on cool and bright clear water. It's kind of a special feeling out on the sea alone, staring at the full moon like a lover. Time for cool change. I'm a lettuce for cool change. Now that my life is so rearranged, I know that it's for
Going to have several tributes this evening, and we're going to start off with one from Michael's friend Tim, who I believe is in Hawaii. Is that right? So he sent this video that we could watch this evening.
Hi everyone. For those of you that don't know me, I am one of Mike's good friends, Tim. I'm definitely one of his biggest fans, and I would say his best friend. At least that's how I feel about him. Feel so bad I can't be here with everyone today, but I guess in his honor and considering the fact that I'm not able to be there, I wanted to share with you a letter that I wrote to Mike. So here we go. Oh Mike, how we all will miss you so. You are one of the smartest, funniest, wittiest people I have ever known, hands down. I think all of you that know Mike know that. You have always been such a thoughtful and generous friend, from all the Harley Davidson poker chips you've bought me around the globe to covering motorcycle damage and repair costs. Jenny, you may not know about that, but I can fill you in. You and I connected instantly when we first met, spending the afternoon singing 80s TV theme songs at a Hawkeyes football game. I'll never forget that. A little example. You take the good, you take the bad, you take them all in there, you have the facts of life, the facts of life. Oh, how I wish you were here to sing that with me, buddy. I miss you. After you and Jen moved up in Zumbrota, the number of memories grew exponentially. From our numerous mandates that included beer, video games, and lasted into the wee hours of the morning, less beer and not quite as late as we grew wiser, of course, to our trips to New Orleans and Dallas Cowboys / New Orleans Saints games. That's right, I said the Cowboys first. Remember on the New Orleans trip how we agreed it was okay for me to sit on that lady's Harley cop bike, and 5 seconds later we were getting yelled at, "Do you guys pull that crap in Dallas?" I'll never forget the look on your face, and I'm sure mine was crazy as well. All the times that we played golf together, you were always better than I was at golf, but you never boasted about it. You were always so cool, calm, and humble. Well, most of the time. To our motorcycle rides together, including our trip to Milwaukee to get your silver motorcycle. I honestly don't know if I've ever seen you smile a bigger smile. Maybe when you married Jen, or when you guys first got Graham, but unfortunately I was not there to see those moments with you firsthand. And finally, to our Wild Hog motorcycle trips together with our good friends Rob, Brian, and Chad. Travels that took us to the North Shore, to Milwaukee, and to South Dakota a couple different times. Well, you're going to be so missed on those in the future, buddy. But your memory will live on forever. That's, from now on, that trip is going to be the Mike Gunderson Memorial Trip. And we will ride in your honor, my brother. Love you. We love you so much. Needless to say, you made a huge, huge impact wherever you went, my friend. Good, bad, or indifferent. Your memory will live on forever, not only for me, but in the hearts of so many people that you have touched. To close, I'm going to use the words you sent to me just a few days ago. There's no way I could sum up how I feel about you better than what you said to me. The second I met you, I knew you were going to be my friend forever. However, what I didn't know was that you would be this great. You have exceeded everything I could expect and are one of the best human beings I've ever met in my life. Rest in peace, my friend. I love you. Love, Jungers. It's for you, Jen. Love you guys.
This time I'd like to invite Brad, Paul, Mike, and Bill forward to share.
Well, Jenny asked me to do this. She said Mike was a part of this decision, and Mike said I'd be mad at him. But you know what else he told me? He told me to get over it. So here I am, but I brought some friends with me. I'm Brad Best. I was the lucky one my freshman year at UNI. First semester was not going well. Lived at Bartlett Hall, just not a good experience. I'm not sure how or when, but I think it was those dorm room meetings you had, whatever they were called. There's this Saints guy. We struck a connection with football, and my roommate just wasn't working out. Mike and I was not liking school. It was just not going well. And this guy says, "Hey, you know what? Why don't you move in with me?" And I'm like, he worked so hard to get through school on his own, and here he is. He's in this air-conditioned apartment, and he says, "Come and live with me. Get out of there." So I think it was the Thursday before Thanksgiving break. My wife now and I and Mike, in like an hour time, picked up and moved down the hall. Didn't even tell my roommate. Mike just took me in. And from then on, a lot of these people came into our, Jenny came into our life. Mike and I stayed close forever through that. But he taught me a lot. He taught me about life. My parents, I'd never left Fort Atkinson, Iowa. Mike's like, "Where in the heck is that?" So we went up there. I'll never forget the first time we took my parents in his baby blue Mazda truck. I don't think you probably ever saw that one, Jenny, but he was very proud of that truck. Took it up there, and he's going through my parents' cabinets telling us how we don't know how to cook in Northeast Iowa. And he was just had that presence about him. And you know, some of my favorite memories with Mike. So we lived together that first year, and I finally got my feet under me at school, and Mike taught me a lot about studying and how to stress out about it, and Paul and I were just joking. You knew when Mike had a biochemistry test coming up because he was a mess, and because he took it serious, and he taught me a lot about school and life and, you know, being on your own. And so my sophomore year, Mike's last semester, we moved together in Norton Hall, and I'll never forget the first night. So we go from this plush apartment to the cool dorm where everybody wants to hang out. And it's 5th floor, and it's like 100 degrees in our room. So Mike and I are supposed to be lofted up here together, laying side by side, and it was so hot that we laid on this bare floor with 2 box fans on, like that first 2 or 3 nights, and just talking away because we couldn't even sleep. It was so hot. But I'll never forget, and Mike, he'll never leave my life. I'll always think of him. You know, Jenny Graham, you guys will always be there we'll be there for you. But truly grateful for what he's done, and just a great friend of mine.
My name's Paul Martin, and friends with Brad. Grew up in the greater Turkey Valley area, as Mike liked to call it. A lot of that here tonight. So when Mike graduated, a little ahead of us. He was a couple years older than us at UNI. And afterwards, when Brad graduated ahead of me. And when Brad left, Mike was looking for somewhere to live. So Brad passed him on to me. I probably have lived with Mike second only to my wife. It's the people I've lived with most of my life. And what an experience. We're supposed to share stories of Mike, and none of mine are appropriate to share in mixed company. Mike knew the line between appropriate and inappropriate, and he straddled that thing all the time. He could go either way. It was amazing. Like Brad, I took him up to my parents as well, and Mike saw a real dairy farm and was mesmerized. Well, mostly because he was lactose intolerant and just was not interested at all. But one of my favorite stories of Mike was on one of those trips up there. Well, it's not my favorite ones. The favorite ones I can't tell. But on one of these trips, he stayed at my parents' house with me. And in the morning, I think I was helping my dad outside, and I came in, and my mom and Mike were making breakfast. And Mike was in a deep discussion with my mother about how he believed that the shortness in our family was due to vitamin D deficiency. And my mom was arguing with him that she gets plenty of sun. I don't think she realized he was messing with her, but he was using all of his, like Tim said, he was one of the smartest guys ever. And he knew every word. And he was selling hard. And it was, I lived with Mike right up until the day, well, right up until an event occurred with that Mike's going to talk about here. But I kind of passed him on to Jenny. It went from me to Jenny, and Mike has a little story about that. So.
Hello, Mike Ellsburn again from the Turkey Valley, Fort Atkinson area. So I'm a high school classmate of Jenny and many of you, Andy and Carol and Sue and Bill. And if I'm missing anybody here, I'm sorry, Diane. I thought I saw her earlier. So Mike and Jenny met actually at our wedding. My wife's name is Jenny as well. So Mike and Jenny met at Mike and Jenny's wedding. So, I originally met Mike through Brad and Paul at UNI when I'd go down there and visit them. And from the bat, I understand he was just connected to people, and people just absolutely loved him. And if you know Mike as well, he always liked to speak on your behalf. So one day, Jenny and I went down to North Liberty when they lived there. And Mike and Jenny's like, Mike, you got to go, Jenny. You got to go to this place called Third Base. It's awesome. And so we went there, and we had some supper and a few drinks, and they were playing softball, and this guy just kept pacing back and forth. Mike kept hitting me. Finally, I'm just like, okay. Mike goes, sir, you need something? Yeah, I'm a softball player, short. Mike goes, oh, this guy will play for you. And I'm in T-shirts and a jean short and everything. And I said, no, it's okay. He goes, well, have you ever played before? And I said, no, not really, And Mike's like, just go. So he goes, well, if I can find you a glove, can you play right field? So I went out to right field, and the guy hit a ball, and one of their runners were going around, and I threw it, and I threw the guy out at third. And the coach kind of looked, and the inning was over. He goes, did your buddy just hustle me? And I said, well, maybe. He said, have you played before? I said, yeah, I played a little in college. And I thanks, Mike, for putting me on the spot. So, but after high school and college, I kind of dibbled and dabbled into poems a little bit. So I wrote one for him tonight. Ode to Mike. We can honestly say, not on a certain day, in 1997, we added a friend in a certain way. He reached out his hand to form a friend band. They stuck together for all the years, and we had many cheers. Our friends have done many things with Mike, from golf to football to hearing him on his bike. The years went past and our lives went on, and they were hard to jive. With kids, work, and other things, the Saints even got a Super Bowl ring. We always kept keep Mike Gunderson's family close, and we always have to boast. Mike's heart is as solid as gold, and our love for him will never go cold. This poem is for him, an ode to a great guy, and one day we'll all join him in the sky, with love from all of his friends that loved him so very much. Thank you.
My name's Bill Arns, and I got to know Mike through Brad and Paul at UNI. And I've known Mike's wife, Jenny, for a long time, since 7th grade. Jenny's always had a great sense of humor, and she's always been a lot of fun to be around. So, as Mike had said before, when they met at their wedding, it would only make sense that there would be a connection between them two. Mike had a lot of the same characteristics. Just a great sense of humor, genuine, kind. Just a lot of fun to be around. I'll never forget that night at Mike's wedding. I was in the bathroom and Mike walked in and he was so proud. He was ecstatic. He's like, I got digits. And I'm like, like, awesome. You know, I'm like, then I finally kind of put the 2 and 2 together. But he was just absolutely thrilled. You know, I've got a lot of memories of Mike, and he will never be forgotten. Definitely be missed. That's all.
What a gift to have memories shared. It's so special. We're going to have another song and some closing words, but I do want to say before that there will be a time to continue sharing and reminiscing. They're going to gather at the brewery after the service is over tonight. Is that right? Sorry, hard luck. Not as far. Well, I don't know. It's about a block either way. So that is a great time to keep the memories and the laughter going. At this time, we will listen to a song, You Needed Me by Anne Murray.
I cried a tear, you wiped it dry. I was confused, you cleared
would like to invite Jackie and Mike, Jenny's sister and brother-in-law, to come and share at this time.
Hey everyone. Just want to talk a little bit about Mike here, to honor him a little bit with you all. Thank you all again for the family for coming out. So Mike was the kind of guy who made it easy to spend time with. Anyone who knew him would tell you that he was wicked smart, and we've heard from Tim. We could chat about anything from sports to physics to barbecue. He's the sort of guy you really didn't want to watch Jeopardy with. I don't know how he knew all those answers. So, we didn't see each other all that often, or not often enough. But no matter how much time passed, we just pick up where we left off like old friends. We were brother-in-laws, but we really had that sort of brotherly connection. He was one of the few people I spent time with who know all the movie one-liners. He got all my jokes. He, of course, had his own to share, lots of them. And for some reason or another, a line or two from National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation or the movie Step Brothers seemed to work its way into our conversations. He had a great sense of humor. A couple more facts about Mike. Mike was a better golfer than I'll ever be, so I'm glad that I'm not the only one with that. But there were some things that I really admired about Mike. Mike was a dedicated husband and father. Part of the dedication to Graham and Jenny, I feel, was really evident this last year in Mike's battle. He fought. He knew the odds. He knew the odds better than anyone. But he persevered. He had grit. He had determination. Mike never complained. He had every reason to. He wasn't just his last year of his fight. It was really a hallmark of his character. Mike always seemed to do whatever he could to take care of the ones he loved before he took care of himself. Mike didn't quit. He tapped deeper than most of us will ever know. Navy SEALs and marathon runners sometimes have this quote. It's called the 40% rule, and basically it's when you're ready to quit. You don't think your body will be able to do anything more. That's really only 40% of what you have in you. You've got 60% more in the tank ready to use, and you tell yourself, keep going, keep going. Mike had that mental toughness, and he drew on this the whole last year. So why? Well, it's obvious. Mike knew people relied on him. He was a guardian. He was a protector. He was a father and a husband, and he stood watch for Jenny and Graham until his body failed him. He never tapped out. As a husband and a father, Mike was an inspiration to me. He had a lot of headwinds in his life. He never faltered under that load. He was a family man, and he gave his all until his last day. I feel honored to have shared time with Mike, and our world and our lives will be a bit less without him on this planet. He gave so much, he touched so many lives, and he had so much more to offer. I feel at peace knowing Mike is no longer suffering, and he's being held close in the arms of God and the company of angels and those souls who have gone before him to the world, that spiritual realm. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Writing a eulogy isn't something that comes natural for me. So like everything else in life, when you need advice, you call your friend Mr. Google. Google's suggestion to open a eulogy was to talk about the first time I met Michael. But it must be my old age, because I honestly cannot remember the first time I met him. What I do remember is that he was always there. and made my little sister so very happy, and for that I am forever grateful. I believe my husband Mike spoke best about the amazing person Michael was, so I'm going to share some of my memories. The obvious, something about a guy named Michael. I guess once Jenny found her forever Michael, I was destined to find my forever Michael 10 years later. The difference is that Jenny took Michael's last name and became Jenny Gunderson. I kept my maiden name, as my Mike's last name is Plawacki. But then that would make me Jackie Plawacki for the rest of my life. Which would be an awesome name if I ever wanted to be the lead singer in a polka band at Czech Days. Jen and Michael's wedding in Mexico will always be etched in my mind. But as Paul had mentioned earlier, most of those stories can't be shared here today. Great friends and family coming together to celebrate their love. Their vows on the beach were beautiful, and the memories created will never be forgotten. Memories like taking the city bus into town, not speaking Spanish, and somehow getting the most beautiful flowers ever. Or the scooter trip around Cozumel, where I was so fortunate to have my mom on the back of my scooter. And somehow we are still here to talk about it. Jenny and Michael were right by our side when we got married in South Carolina. Of course, 2 days before our wedding, the once-in-100-year blizzard hit and threatened the ability for our friends and family to travel to our celebration. Michael and Jenny were supportive with positive vibes, and everyone made it safely. For those that know Michael G., it is not a secret for his love of White Castle burgers. However, there are not many White Castle stores in the Midwest, so he took advantage while in South Carolina to introduce his nephew Riley to them, just a few hours before the wedding. Right, Jen? Memories that my Mike, there's too many Mikes. Memories that my Mike and I will always hold close are the family holiday poker games with Jenny and Michael, our parents, Grandma Pacoda, and Elaine and Killian Bonestein, our aunt and uncle. We will cherish those games forever, always dealer's choice. Killian always saying, friendship ceases at the poker table, and Michael's love for Texas Hold'em. On the night might passed, I truly believe there was one hell of a poker party in heaven with Grandma, Elaine, and Killian. Another day I will never forget was the day Graham was born. Jen and Mike called and said, hey, guess what? We have a son, and guess what his name is? Graham Michael. Graham named after our Grandma Pacoda, and Michael after his amazing father. Speaking of Grandma Pacoda, both Jenny and I have the same prayer book that she gave us a very long time ago. Throughout our lives, we have both found great comfort in referencing many prayers in this book. As you can see, my book is a little bit worn, and even with the fancy Ziploc bag protector, I have my book in here. When I opened it this morning, when I was writing this, I opened it up to find a bookmarker that says Faith, Hope, and Love that my niece Carly made me when she was 8 years old. There is on that page a prayer I feel that best suits today called In Times of Grief, and I would like to share that with you. Grief is a fact of life, dear friend, that we all have to meet at times. It's not easy to accept, but we must, though it seems a crime. We can't see God in any place, but I assure you He is there. We hold just some of the pieces of life's puzzle, so persevere. God holds all the missing pieces, and in time they will be placed in your life's picture puzzle. Then your sorrow will be erased. Lean heavily upon our Lord, for He is always very near. He's beside you in times of stress and in times of grief and fear. Just pray to him for acceptance of the vacuum death has caused. He will give you tolerance. He will pull you from the jaws of sorrow that's too hard to bear, for he understands humanity. He'll help you carry your despair until all souls will be set free. Michael, we are so grateful for the time we have had you in our lives. Our family will forever be better because you've played such an amazing role. I wish you peace and eternal love always. Thank you for being a great husband, a dedicated father, and the best brother a girl could ever have.
Hear now these words of comfort and blessing. O Creator, we entrust our brother Michael to your mercy. You loved him greatly in this life. Now that he is freed from all its cares, give him happiness and peace forever. We offer and commend Michael Aaron Gunderson to the everlasting one. Michael, we say to you in the midst of our sorrow and loss that we are grateful that you lived your life among us. We are grateful for your quiet gentleness and for your firm resolve to live life on your own terms. We take joy and relief in knowing that your suffering has ended. We ask you now for forgiveness for any of the ways we may have hurt you in this life, and we forgive you for any of the ways you may have hurt us. We release you now into the everlasting arms. May your passage be swift. May you know wholeness and peace now and through all eternity. And now, hear this benediction. May the road rise up to meet you. May the wind always be at your back. May the sun shine warm upon your face, and may the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord make his face to shine upon you and be gracious to you. May the Lord lift up his countenance upon you and give you peace. And until we meet again, may God hold you in the palm of his hand. Amen. This concludes our service here this evening. Again, would remind you of the time of fellowship and gathering and toasting to Michael at the Hard Luck. Thank you all for coming this evening.